welcome to the preview as we look ahead to Town's trip to Portsmouth this afternoon, a 1 o'clock kickoff. Delighted to say we're joined by Darren Ambrose. You okay, Darren? How are you doing?
How are we doing, Dan? You're right. You're looking a lot better in the boardroom. It looks like it looks a lot more Ipswich Town based, which is fantastic.
Yeah. It's a bit better than my spare bedroom, isn't it? Yeah. How's things been this week? Doing a bit of media with TalkSport?
Yes, very good actually. We do a lot. Me and obviously Benty. Ipswich fans will know a lot about Benty. We're in the TalkSport studios together, and it's going really well. We're really enjoying it, and we seem to be getting more of a flow with the show. So I'm really enjoying it. Every Sunday I'm down in the studio. I've been lucky enough to be able to get out of the house and go down to London and work. So I can't complain. It's been great.
Unfortunately, only one place to start, Darren, and that was Tuesday night's disappointing performance away at Fleetwood. Paul Cook pulled no punches post-match, stating that if Town continue to perform like that, playoffs will be out of the equation because you simply won't win points playing like that.
Yeah, and I agree. Hoping it was a one-off. We've had too many of these kind of performances throughout the season, but hoping with the new manager in Paul Cook, this is a one-off for him and he can kind of get it back on track, because kind of when he came in was doing okay. I mean, for me, firstly, the appointment of Paul Cook has been great. I know we spoke about this last time I was on, but I've seen a few clips and a few videos of the training, and the freshness and energy he's brought to the team has just seemed like it's great. And on the pitch, it started to rub off, of course, but the Fleetwood game was disappointing. Hopefully that's a one-off and they can put it behind them and get the right result against Portsmouth. But it is, you can't perform like that. If you do, I mean, 7th in the league at the moment, you'll start dropping down the league as opposed to pushing up, because everyone who is looking to go into the playoffs, they're going to not be putting performances like that. Hoping, like I said, that it's a confidence issue that they've picking up performances like this throughout the season, but need to turn it around. And get back on the winning trail.
Yeah, he said also post-match that the team's consistency at the moment is its inconsistency. So it's difficult to address that, isn't it? It's got to be put right.
Yeah, and exactly right. Before I come on, I had a quick look. For last time I was on was Accrington Stanley. Obviously got a fantastic win. Then lost to Gillingham, drew to Lincoln, won to Plymouth, lost to Fleetwood. I mean, that is a very inconsistent form that when you're looking at that. So if you want to be pushing towards the playoffs, and listen, the top two are not a million miles away. I think that would be too much this season. But if you want to be pushing into that playoffs, you need to start picking up consistent wins, consistent points, because that's what the teams around you will do. When you come towards the end of the season is when you're, when you're looking to, hit that form that's going to just push you on. Yeah. You can't be the form I've just mentioned there since Aki. You can't be performing like that and picking up points here and there, 3 points here, 1 point there, losing, because teams around you, teams will come from behind. We've seen that year in, year out in every league. Teams come from behind and they have a lost run, and you don't want to be that team to slip out of it. You want to be that team that gets involved, Yeah,
it's been early goals has been a pattern as well that Ipswich have been conceding. Fleetwood, Accrington, Gillingham. You just give yourself a mountain to climb then, don't you?
You do, and I think it does. It goes down to confidence on the pitch. And when the previous manager was in charge, obviously we was picking up performances like this more often than not, and it was very disappointing, struggling to beat teams in the top 10 for a long, long time. So yeah, you can't be conceding early goals, and Paul Cook is a very experienced manager, and he will know this. And they will be working on the training ground to stop that from happening, because like you've mentioned there, you concede early, especially away from home as well. If you concede early goals away from home, you struggle to get in the game, because the team they're good enough now to see the game out, even if it is an early goal. And as Fleetwood proved, they scored another, and it was just a real big mountain to climb for Ipswich.
Just looking at Pompey, they've certainly been in somewhat of a rut. They're winless in their last 6 games. I think 2 wins in their last 10, and that has resulted in Kenny Jackett losing his job. And it looks like the Cowley brothers are going to be appointed. Looks imminent, that appointment. But You know, Pompey are sort of had a mixed bag, more bad than good, but it's two teams sort of not in the form that they want to be in going into this, isn't it?
It is, and you know, I look at Portsmouth, and I don't want to see Ipswich do what Portsmouth are doing. I see Portsmouth like they are stuck in this division. They need to produce more to get out. I don't think they've got the players to compete, if I'm honest. Saying that they are 2 points behind Ipswich, that could be the team that creeps into the playoffs. So I don't want to see Ipswich not do it this year, not do it next year, and just become a Portsmouth kind of team that is stuck in this division and can't get out for the foreseeable future. For Ipswich, last season was disappointing. Obviously with COVID as well, it's halted the season. But this year is a real big opportunity to pick up these performances, these wins, and see if you can get promoted. Because, like I said, you don't want to be a Portsmouth type team that are just stuck in the division with players that can compete, but they're not going to really push you up the league.
Not a very cheery stat here, but Town haven't won at Fratton Park since 2012, albeit they were in different divisions at different points in those years in between. But Fratton Park historically is it's a brilliant atmosphere, isn't it? The home fans really get behind Pompey there, but with no fans, what does that do to the game, Darren?
I think under any normal circumstance, you'd say it would be fans win you points. You know, it's as simple as that. If you go throughout the season, you could probably pick 6, 7 extra points up for being at home, and the fans will really get in behind you. And Portsmouth are, like you've said, they're one of the best set of fans around. Similar to Ipswich, you know, when Ipswich is firing on all cylinders in the crowd, you really turn it on the last 10, 15 minutes and you end up picking up points, you know. And so it's been disappointing for them, but, you know, it's been happening so long now in terms of this behind closed doors games that they should be used to it. I think if you look at Kenny Jackett, for instance, I think he'd have lost his job a lot sooner if the fans were in. You know, because it would have been a poisonous atmosphere. I was told he wasn't the most popular, but, you know, they're going to be back on side with, particularly if the Cowley brothers come in, because they seem to be well liked and respected wherever they go. So, you know, you look at from a Portsmouth aspect, it's probably a positive move, their manager change, and, you know, when they can eventually get in, you know, that crowd's going to be really behind the team, but they have to produce more. That you can't keep saying they're a big club. Similar to Ipswich, you can't keep saying they're a big club, too big to be in League One. You need to prove it and get out of the division.
Town have faced Pompey already twice this season, Darren. In the FA Cup, went to extra time and lost out 3-2 and at home, but probably doesn't really have too much bearing on today's game, does it? Both have had managerial changes since then. Yeah,
it won't make a difference at all. You know, I think Ipswich will probably be the more confident team going into the game, albeit a disappointing result, like you said, against Fleetwood, like we've discussed. But the Portsmouth form, has been terrible. They lost the EFL trophy as well to Salford. They lost to Peterborough, Sunderland, Northampton, Doncaster, drew to Gillingham. You know, that's a poor run of form. So on the flip side, you don't want to be the team like that changes their fortunes and they pick up a scrappy win. You know, you don't want to be that team. You want to take full advantage of the poor form and poor run they've been on.
They've had a bit of injury news, particularly at the top of the pitch. Ellis Harrison, former Town player who Ipswich fans will know well, he's been ruled out for the season. And John Marquis missed out Tuesday night's defeat at Peterborough with an ankle injury. So yet to know whether he's going to feature later today. We don't know that. But, you know, they've got players who can hurt you, haven't they? Curtis, Harness out wide. Good players, aren't they?
Yeah, Ronan Curtis, very good player. I think 8 goals, 6 assists this season. I think that's fantastic for a wide man in this division. Like you said, Marcus Harness. Again, I think they've flipped that around, 6 goals and 8 assists. So the 2 wide men are very good. And Marquis will be a big miss if he isn't to be in the team. We don't really know, as you said, the full extent of what had happened, what kept him out on Tuesday. But for me, the 2 forwards, like I said, I think they're good enough to compete in this division, Harrison and Marquis. But I don't think they're enough for Portsmouth to push them on up the division and maybe getting promotion. So you can keep them wide men quiet. I do feel you've got a big chance of getting a result today.
Paul Cook said in his press conference yesterday that Kane Vincent-Young is also going to be back on the named on the bench this afternoon. That's a big boost for the club, isn't it?
Kane Vincent-Young is a massive, massive boost. He's missed far too long for the ability he's got. I played with him at Colchester, and he's a fantastic kid. I said this when he signed. I got asked about him, and he just wants to learn and improve, and real nice guy to be around off the pitch as well. So I think the Ipswich players have really taken to him as well. So he's come in, he hit the ground running immediately, absolutely brilliant. But yeah, he's picked up these injuries and he keeps getting setbacks, which has been real disappointment for not only the team and the supporters, but for himself as well, because all he wants to do is be out there on the pitch and help the team as much as possible. And yeah, James Norwood coming back in is a big plus. He's a big presence up there, gets himself some goals, got in a good run of form recently. So yeah, it's like I said, it's positive news for Ipswich, both of them returning, and just need to take advantage of this poor run of form that Portsmouth have been on. But like you said, they've changed their manager now, so they're going to be going into it confident as well. It's going to be a good game. They obviously they move above us if they win, and we can move into the playoffs. With all the results going for us, we could get ourselves back into the playoffs. 2 games in hands on Charlton. So just like I said, just need some consistent form going into the last run in, and hopefully we can get the start of this consistent run today.
How do you see it panning out? You just said there that you think it will be a good game. Do you think it will be quite an even game too, quite even teams?
I think so, yeah. Like I said, you look at the form, both teams not being fantastic, but both teams can be very, very good on their day. Portsmouth are going to come into it on a bad run of form, and Ipswich on an inconsistent run of form. So I'm expecting a good game for the neutral, but if Paul Cook can stamp more of his mark on this team, I can feel it being a positive one for Ipswich.
Mm. You said there in your last answer about the running. On paper, and Paul has said this as well, it does look favourable for Town, but they have to get the consistency, don't they? It's teams in the bottom half who you're up against. On paper, it does look good, but you have to perform. You got to earn the right to win those games, haven't you?
Exactly right. You hit the nail on the head. Earn the right, and it's all well and good going into games we see with let me bring up the Tottenham Dinamo Zagreb the other day. Yeah. It's all well and good thinking just turn up and win. Doesn't happen like that. So you are right. This is a big, big game. You go into the next 3, Wigan, who are in 20th, Bristol Rovers 19th, Rochdale 23rd. All on paper look like, wow, comfortable 9 points there. Don't happen like that, because these teams down there are fighting for their lives in this division as well. So you're coming to the business end of the season, and you need to make the most of just not so much performances anymore. I think for teams down the bottom of the division, teams up the top, teams looking to get into the playoffs, it's just about winning points now. And I don't think many Ipswich fans will be too concerned if you have whatever's left, 10 games left to the end of the season. If every one of them scrappy but all wins, you're in the playoffs at least.
Definitely. Right, Darren, prediction time, what are you saying?
You know what, I think I was correct with Aki when I done that. I might have said 3-1 or it was 2-1, but I got that right. I was a bit nervous when obviously they scored on that. But yeah, like I said, I think this is going to be a tight game. I think form should come into it, but it never normally does, especially when managerial changes happen. But again, I can see Ipswich getting something out of this game, at least a draw. But I'm going to stick my neck on the line again and say it's going to be a 2-1 victory.
Hope you're right. Well, thank you, Darren, for your insight again and joining us on the preview. And thanks for those watching at home. Don't forget you can buy your iFollow match passes for £10. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff at Fratton Park this afternoon. Let's hope for 3 points and Darren's predictions right. Thank you for joining us.